Right on. Thanks again for tuning in tonight. This is the Graveyard Shift on the Crematory, and I got Farmacy on the phone, and let's get him on. What's going on, everybody?
What up? What's going on?
Hi.
Tell everybody about yourself.
So I'm Celine Soul, and the lead vocalist.
Ryan Big Daddy Gaddy, guitars, vocals, and keyboards.
I'm Jeff, Dr. Z. I'm the lead and rhythm bass player.
Right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then we're missing Mick Madness. He's the lead guitarist, and Gary West for percussion.
Right on. So you guys are out of where? Like Idaho?
Yep,
Yes.
North Idaho Panhandle, Kellogg, Idaho.
Nice. What's the scene like out there?
I can't really say there's a huge music scene here. A lot of the bands around here are cover bands. A lot of classic rock and old school rock and country going on. We're one of the loudest bands in our little region up here.
Nice.
But we play a variety of, when we do our cover shows, we're doing a little bit of classic rock up in the 80s and 90s and modern day stuff, and then we stitch in our originals throughout the night. Kind of accelerate the intensity as we go.
Yeah, we do anything from like Hurricane, Cream, Dirty Deeds, Pantera. We throw everything out there.
Nice.
Evanescence.
Very cool. So this new album, it's called ELIXIR, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is not just a normal, just like rock album, right?
No, it kind of plays out in a story pattern like a rock opera, like Pink Floyd's The Wall or Tommy by The Who. It shows this path of our music has a bunch of characters in it, like the Mad Pharmacist, there's Celine Soul, the Silver Valley Wolfman, Krampus.
Oh.
And the way they play together this story, it kind of leaves out a path of like the pharmacist created Celine Soul. She escaped the lab, used her powers to seduce the Wolfman, put a curse on him. He became the Wolfman. Some shit happened. She got angry. She summoned Krampus to kill him.
Nice. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. I can't wait to hear it all.
But all in all, we really strove in the production process to not do sample replacement with the drums. We didn't want our drums to sound like everybody else. We wanted them to sound like Gary. The rhythmic patterns, how they interlace with the guitars, we didn't want anything corrupted by quantization and perfection. It was like, let's get it as close as we can to how we play it live.
Right.
So when you come see us live, you get the same experience.
Nice.
But way louder and way more in your face.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And I gotta say, like, when we recorded it at Chaotic Studios out in Spokane with Phil Bruni, and it was pretty awesome. My first time in a studio, so it was mind-blowing for me.
Right on. Is this your guys' first album?
Yeah, we did it's our first full-length album. We did an EP we released on Halloween called Medical Grade Metal. 4 of the songs that were on Medical Grade Metal were re-recorded, and stuff was added to them for the arrangements for ELIXIR, because they really were four blocks of the storyline that we ended up stitching together with the newer songs that hadn't been recorded yet.
Nice.
Yeah. And I put a little bit more of a Celine touch for vocals on what I didn't get a chance to do in the beginning. you record something and then you're like, oh man, I should have did this. So it gave me a chance to do that.
That's the problem with album production is if you don't set a limit, you'll just keep revamping. All these revisions later, you're going crazy because you got 20 versions of the same song.
Yeah.
And you're never satisfied. So you kind of just have to have all right, this is the day we're done. This is what's going out. Decide on what's ready to go.
Yeah. And we're celebrating our release at the Hogfish Bar in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Nice.
So we're pretty excited for that.
So this album drops tomorrow, right?
Yep. It'll be worldwide on all streaming platforms through the Sony Orchard and Curtain Call Records.
Sweet.
Curtain Call's got us on a big festival for June, and we'll actually be opening for Attila at Metal in the Mountains in West Virginia on the opening day of the festival.
That'll be cool. I was checking out that flyer. That's going to be cool.
Some badass names on the flyer.
Yeah, that's going to be a cool show.
A lot of label mates of ours are on there, and a lot of other bands that we've been watching from afar going, damn!
Yeah, I just got hooked up with Curtain Call this, 6 months ago or something like that. And, man, the amount of talent there is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, we're worldwide, and we've got bands on our label that are over in Russia, all over the U.S. I think a couple are out of Europe.
Yeah,
and
very cool
the
stuff.
outreach that Curtain Call gives us with guys like you gets this music out to the people, and we can't thank you enough for helping us.
Nice. Yeah, I wouldn't have ever even heard of you guys if it wasn't for those guys. So it's all a big circle of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
So your show's been on for 15 years, you were telling me?
Yeah, it'll be. Actually, I miscalculated. I was probably thinking it was a lot longer, but it started in 06, so on Halloween on 06. So it'll be 14 years, I guess, this Halloween.
Okay.
Yeah, and then 15 will be the next year.
Oh.
I think I was trying.
Awesome.
Maybe I was trying to jump ahead. I don't know.
It's still admirable longevity for a program, man. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I just do it. I don't know. It's nothing. I think I have made like $100 in 13 years.
It's definitely a passion then of yours.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the media game has definitely changed with the internet. It's really changed the music industry, how things go with recording contracts and what's expected of the bands on financial responsibility versus labels. It's a completely different world. Like back in the 90s, you might be able to get your demo tape to the right guy and you get that $1 million deal. Now that's becoming a lot less common. A lot of it's more independent distribution type deals, and bands have to carry the financial weight of the recording process and doing their photos and whatnot. Then we turn it over to a label, and the label pushes that media out to their connection network.
Right. So instead of being like a recording, label, it's more of just a distribution for you guys?
Distribution and
Promotion.
publicity.
Yeah.
But in the long run, you got to spend money to make money, and advertising is key to any business getting anywhere. And bands who aren't looking at their bands as a business are completely doing it wrong.
Yeah. I really enjoy how it is now, though, because I feel like you really get to see how bands really are, and not, it's not like, oh, they were told to perform this way or look this
Yeah.
way or do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
You don't
see
get
how
turned into like a cookie cutters type of situation. It's the
yeah,
bands that you want to hear.
yeah,
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the public reception has always been the band that's on the radio all the time and getting all the huge shows is the best band. On a musical scale, I slightly disagree with that in several instances of what's popular versus what is genius, in my opinion.
Right.
You could have $1 million budget and be a 3-chord punk rocker and outsell somebody who's a classically trained technical death metal wizard any day of the week. It's all in how much money is in your marketing campaign that's going to drive your product to put it in front of people to consume.
yeah. How hard you work. Shit, I can't even remember the last time I turned on FM radio on my, I don't even have a CD player, but literally I just throw my phone on and listen through my phone. There's so many stations on my phone that I have access to now that I'm not really secluded to just one. Just good.
And
the world is
streaming aspect of things and archiving stuff. It's kind of like Netflix and YouTube. Like somebody who missed it at 8 o'clock still could probably come back at 3 in the morning and listen to the episode.
Right.
Yeah.
It still gets around.
And I've heard so many great bands since I've turned on to internet radio. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's to the point now where I don't know. I just like you're saying, I don't know when I've turned on the radio to see what's going on.
Yeah.
But with that power of the internet, a band from a small town of 1,500 can get plugged into a place like Metal in the Mountains in West Virginia.
Yeah, no doubt.
Or even in Seattle.
Whereas you can bang on the door of your local radio FM station for months at a time and they won't even return your emails.
Yeah.
So do you play guitar too, or do any of that?
I've been playing bass since like '79.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are your influences?
What's that?
What are some of your influences on bass?
Geezer Butler, Sabbath. That was probably one of the first things I learned how to play. And then I don't know, I got into like Jocko and Stanley Clark and stuff like that. There's a ton of really good bass players.
I think the first song I ever played on a bass. Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
If I had to throw down my bass players that really brought it to me, because I do play bass too, but not in this band, probably John Entwistle from The Who, Cliff Burton from Metallica, Lee from Korn, Lee from the Chili Peppers, of course, Geezer Butler, Steve Harris from Iron Maiden.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, Lemmy.
Yeah, exactly.
Les Claypool.
I tried to play Smoke on the Water one time on the bass. That was the first song I ever did.
So, bass player, you're flipping over there, buddy.
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Well, I don't know if I could say I really had any influences for bass players. I didn't start off playing bass. I started off playing guitar. And I played guitar forever, and I've always been into metal, but I started playing guitar because I liked Dave Matthews. And then I liked the bass line from Crush on Before He's Crowded Streets. So I ended up picking up a bass. I guess I could say the bass player from Dave Matthews Band is probably like the reason I picked up bass. And then just from there, just kind of try to find my own thing. I don't listen to the radio at all. unless it's like nighttime radio. And I always try to find the bands, these obscure bands, ones nobody ever heard of, whatever. But I'm really into stoner rock, doom metal, that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why I go from playing bass.
Nice.
My influences, like, I have kind of evolved, like, in the years growing up and everything. It started out like the traditional little girl, oh, I love pop and something that I can just kind of dance to, and also sing to easily. But my parents, growing up, I listened to a lot of April Wine and Nazareth, AC/DC, of course. So rock has always been kind of there in the background. But got a shout out to like Ginger and In This Moment always, anytime I ever talk about influences as far as metal vocalists, because that's who's really Slipknot and Korn and Pantera. Really got to say those two.
Nice.
There's a lot. So many. So for Mickey, I'd say he's always talked about like classical music, like Bach and all that, has really influenced him when he was little.
Nice.
He loves symphonic metal. Gary's he's more of like Boston. We kind of just branch out to all sorts of different.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'd say it all different. Like I was asked one day, someone said, what is the song? What song did you hear that said you knew after hearing it that you wanted to play music? And I was like, easy, man. I was like 8. It was Crosby, Stills and Nash, To the Last Whale.
Yeah.
So that's totally different from what I listened to. But I heard that song, listened to records with my dad, and I was like, hey, man, that's it. One day. So.
I think when I was a kid growing up, the one song that I always remember hearing was I Want to Be Your Dog from Iggy Pop. And I'm like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. Of course, my parents weren't too approving of that. They didn't want me to be the next Iggy Pop.
Over the years, I was exposed to music my whole life. I mean, my great grandfather played guitar in a mariachi band, and my dad played guitar in a Kiss tribute band.
Nice.
When he was in high school, and he joined the Air Force. We just casually played guitar after that at home. But by age 13, he was in Korea because the Air Force had sent him out there, and he said, "Don't play my guitar." Of course, what does a 13-year-old do when he's told not to do something? I picked up that guitar, started trying to play "Smells Like Teen Spirit" by Nirvana on this acoustic, and I was trying to do Metallica on this acoustic, and doing all that learning phase of the guitar on an acoustic really built my hand strength and dexterity. So when I did get an electric guitar, it was like going from running with lead weights to just like full balls out fucking sprint.
Right on.
And of course, the whole 90s run of grunge, alternative, and metal. The new metal thing was really big when I was in high school, so like I'm really partial to Mudvayne and Korn and stuff like that. But I've always had my core ground from metal coming out of the big four: Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax. The fifth being Pantera, but I put Pantera pretty high on my list. I do play a Dimebag Darrell theme from Hell.
Nice.
But all in all, I knew I wanted to do this as a career when I was 13, and I haven't stopped trying. I'm 35 now, and this is the furthest I've taken my music career. And this band is everything I've ever wanted to do in music. Like the perfect sonic blueprint of everything I wanted to do.
Very cool. I know I was a fan when I heard Silver Valley Wolfman. I'm like, I dig this band.
Yeah.
So that actually started out I didn't know what to do for vocals, so it was a full moon that week, and the Wolfman concept kind of got in my brain. And that chorus, getting the cities in our local area to line up in a chorus for the right syllables was kind of a pain in the ass. It took me about a month to figure out how I wanted to do it, but then that kind of became our flagship song, because when the band started, I was actually the vocalist. I decided I didn't want to be the full-time lead vocalist. I felt I wanted to play more guitar, do backing vocals. But we kept the song because it was a strong song.
Right on.
Then we had a different vocalist for about. She phased out of the band. She had some child health, and she had to commit her time to. Didn't have any more availability to stick with us. We picked up Celine, and things really started to fire the way they were supposed to. Like sonically, everything just blends so well. Like you'll get on the album to Krampus, and me and her are doing this dual scream where I'm down in the Cookie Monster low growl, and she's up in this high banshee shriek in this really torturously slow breakdown part. And I can't say that you get that sound with any two other combinations. Like that's absolutely a sound that me and her have to be together to create.
That's really cool. I'm pumped to hear this now.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
The Krampus is definitely one of my favorites from that album. Sinister,
Mine
the
too.
single that we just put out, holds a special place for me as well. Did you get to watch that music video?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I watched it a couple times. I even threw it over on my Reverb Nation page too, just to share it with the world. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I
Thank
saw
you.
that.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
Yeah, we got some live shots to kind of use this filter that was similar to Dire Straits' "Money for Nothing," because that was like the first video on MTV as far as I remember. Yeah, it was kind of symbolic to me. Yeah.
The first video I remember seeing is Piss on the Wall.
Okay, so I'm not as experienced as you guys, but I was around for MTV in the 80s.
By the time Money for Nothing came out, that was old hat.
Aww. I like the effect.
Yeah, I dig
So
the
I put it
effect.
in our video. And then all the fire and sinister imagery. But that goes back to what I was saying with bands that are doing things. Like the more you can do in-house, the better off you are, because you're not going to have to invest money in somebody else doing the work for you if you can handle it yourself. If it's something outside of your expertise, pay them, but kind of try to learn the process. You don't have to keep paying them. You can do it yourself. It's kind of been our motto. Like we've got in-house graphic photography. My wife does all that for social media stuff and our website design. She's designed most of our T-shirts, not all of them. Yeah, I'm going to say all of our T-shirts are designed by her.
Nice.
Other than the Silver Valley Wolfman that Johnny P from Green Jello did for us. That's the only one she didn't do. Have you seen that graphic? I'll have to send that over to you.
What's that?
The Silver Valley Wolfman T-shirt that we put out about a year ago.
I don't think I saw that.
You can actually get that T-shirt on our website on our merch tab through Dizzy Jam.
Nice.
Up 2X, and you can get it, I think, in 5 or 6 different colors.
Right on.
I think the black one looks the best, but I'm kind of partial to black.
Right on.
We also have a signature popcorn line, gourmet popcorn, at Farm Snacks. So we get several flavors: Sinister Sriracha, Wolfman's Breath, which is like a buffalo cheddar, Got a little bite of magic. It's kind of like a birthday cake type popcorn. Royal Bitch raspberry. Tying with bitch within. That one kind of tastes like Captain Crunch berries. It's crack, dude. Straight up. We buy a case of that before a show, and they're gone by the end of the night.
Nice.
So we're gonna be up your neighborhood for the Mayo up in Everett. We're still waiting to hear on what the actual venue is, but Aaron Torres, who's been a promoter we work with in Spokane, set us up with that show. And then we've got the other one at ELIXIR in June. So hopefully we get to meet you in person.
Right on. Yeah, I bring the show on the road every once in a while, so I'll have to do that at one of your places. It's usually all the way. It's kind of just up to the sound guy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That'd
I went
be
up
cool
to
as
this.
shit.
I think
Live
I was
food.
telling you I went up to that place up north of Everett that was like a haunted bar basically, and
Yeah.
that was cool. I got tapped on the shoulder one night, and there was nobody there. You're walking down a hallway, and the
Crazy
sound
shit.
guy is telling us about this ghost of this little girl who died in the building when it burned down as a church. And just as he said her name, the lights turned off.
All right.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff going on around there, though.
Okay.
I love that kind of shit. We have in Wallace, Idaho. There's a building that's supposedly to be haunted. Heard they were having a medium visit there. One of our shows at the bar right next door to it, we had some issues, like light issues and stuff that went down during the time that the medium should have been there. So I kind of feel like that, I don't know, kind of, it kind of came from that maybe.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Our metal went transdimensional.
Yeah.
So, this album will be playing in full, I guess, your station, and we really appreciate that. People will be looking at the full picture of it instead of just a little snippet on YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah, the cover art on
Really get it
your
out.
on this album is pretty cool too. I was digging that.
Yeah, my wife did that. Jen Gaddy.
Very cool.
Gingerly designed.
Digitally designed. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does all of our show posters, social media art, the album art. Oh, we're working on a comic book right now that we were going to put out with the physical CD release as the booklet, kind of telling the story of the album. Try to keep it down to like 15 pages.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'll be getting one of those.
Art takes time, so it might be a little bit before that project's done. Trying
Nice.
to day jobs and doing everything, it's like you just sleep less because you can't create more hours in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, in the motivational post, he said you need to sleep faster. That's how you get more hours on the day.
Sleep faster.
Yeah.